Hi. Hi, this is SSgt Kwakye, and this afternoon I would like to give a presentation on forecasting. And if we talk of the word forecasting in supply chain, forecasting means a lot for suppliers, and I would define it from my own perspective as provisioning, which that's what the Army knows forecasting as. I also know that forecasting is not a prediction, because many people think that forecasting is the same as prediction or predicting things in the future. But my simple definition that I have always, it has stuck with me for such a long time, is that forecasting is a strategic planning for predicting what we need in future based on historic or present facts of our suppliers and customers' behavior, and also circumstance around the world. So let's say that if we're about to deploy for an exercise, as the exercise planning team, we go for conference and then we do projections of what we'll do on that exercise or what we need for that exercise based on the numbers of people that we use on grounds, based on the activity that we'll be doing, based on the mileage of the vehicles. We make planning around them, and we also be focused of what we will need in terms of food, in terms of rations, in terms of fuel, in terms of spare for our vehicle to keep us on that exercise. So I will give a typical example at our home. If you want to conduct party for let's say your son or your daughter next month, first of all you have to plan around it, and this kind of planning is forecasting. You have to check around your fridge or your storage, how many sugars do you have, flour, eggs that you can use to bake the cake for your son or your daughter. And based on what you have to place order or go to the shop and buy an amount that will make your good for that party. So writing down the information based on what you have, and also considering the last party that you did, how many people came on that party, can determine that you will need for the party that you're about to do. So it means that forecasting is always basing your requirement, your future requirements, on the previous history and also present condition that you are in. I want us to know that we have to consider when we are doing forecasting, because in supply chain, when we are doing planning, coordinating, and data analysis, we have to ensure that every decision that we make, we have done a proper forecasting. So to do a good forecasting, you have to understand what is your future requirement. What do you need in future in terms of quantity, in terms of weight, in terms of shapes? It depends on the nature of your activity. That will help you to know your activity resource that you are going to use. You also need to know the trend of the past demands of your customer behavior. It will show you your customer behavior so you can predetermine what they need. So when you go to the shops, all these points cards being given to you in Morrison's, in Tesco's, in various shops, they use that point card to determine the behavior of the customer. So when you swap in to get your points, they are getting your details of the kind of item that you've been purchasing within a certain time, so that they can, based on that, to pre-order for the store for their customers. Also, you have to consider the season that you are in. Let's say that we are about to go into summer tour or summer exercise. We always will make sure that the soldiers have got knowledge about heat injury, and all their uniform being given to them will help them to survive on that exercise. So as a supplier or as a senior NCO in the supply chain, you should consider season that you're about to deploy into it as well. You should also know your maintenance period. Anytime that you request for a commodity or you request for a spare for your Charlie Apple account or for your store, you should ensure that you have a period of maintenance and the stock available till the supplier respond to you and deliver your goods to you for you to give to your customer. So the lead time will help you to know how many that you will need to sustain yourself till the A1 comes in through. You should also know that these are the items that I want to in-stocking. When we talk of in-stocking in terms of forecasting, it means that we have to bring in certain item. It could be new or a continued consistency item. Sometimes you can also have to do an in-scaling when there's a new item in the system or your customer require for a new item which they haven't been required for before. You have to create an in-scaling. It's the same as the other side, that you have to do out stocking. There are certain items, they've been on the shelf for quite a long time. So when you are doing your forecasting, you don't want to keep the old item which has been like dinosaur that you are not using on the shelves. It means when you do that, it means that you're not a good supplier, you're not a good forecaster, you're not a good provisioner. You are occupying the space where the in-stocking one or the in-scaling ones will come and fill. So you should get rid of the old item which haven't been moved for a longer period of time. In the army, we talk of 2-year moved item must be get rid before we get hard charges against us. And later I'll talk about hard charges, the benefit of hard charges, and then the disadvantage of it. And the same as also in-stocking. When you are doing the out-stocking, you do the in-stocking as well. So when you want to understand forecasting, you should know the types of forecasting that you are doing. We have so many kinds of forecasts. When you go online, you see that you come across weighted rates forecasting, which it dwell much on planned to repair items and expensive items, P-class items, and also A-class items. So this is what, when you are doing UAA job, you have to focus. USA job, focus on. EE, you have to focus on, and a bit of clothing store needs to focus on that area. So when it comes to you are doing forecasting as a system analysis within a regiment, you have to make sure that weighted rate forecasting method is applied. But when it comes to non-expensive item or non-planned repair item like C-class item, you have to use the method of usage rate forecasting. My last point I want to give to you is the benefit of our forecasting. I want to give you a reference of a book that I read, just titled of the writer called Curtis Doyle, 2002, that he wrote this article, and he said that forecasting help organization to plan the unexpected and expected disruptions. Forecasting help organizations to plan for the expected and not expected disruptions. So when we are forecasting, we are not forecasting that we are going to get something right, but we are also forecasting so that we know the negatives that will come our way, the obstacles that will come our way, the risks that we will meet, the issues that we meet. So we always focus for quantities that we need to survive on grounds, but we also have to forecast that the weather can be bad. We also forecast that our lead time won't be met due to transported problems or due to fuel issues within the country. So that's also help us. So for the benefit of forecasting, One is that it gives us consistent productions. So when we are with LED on exercise or in operation, if the supplier fails to forecast well, it causes problem to their production line. So if we do better or amazing forecasting or provisioning, always the remit department are consistently working on grounds. We keep soldiers on grounds because they receive what they want at a time or all time. Also, the supply become also constant. We supply constantly. We never fail not to supply because we don't wait for our shelves to be zero stock, because we know when and how and where demand will come through to us. It also improves customer satisfaction and also confidence, because anytime that customer come to our store and they receive what they need, it increased their confidence rate. So they rate you when they go on all group meeting. They mention the G4 lead person name, or let's say the USA guy name, that he's doing an amazing job, but they don't know that he is a good forecaster. So if you're able to forecast very well, these are some of the benefits that you receive. And it also avoid shortage. So if you want to avoid shortage in your storehouse, you must be a good forecaster. You have to be able to plan well, coordinate and organize, and also make sure data of the past are being considered to use to place demand earlier before they are in need for, and you don't place excessive stock to your storehouse. It also determines when prices are up and down. When you are doing forecasting, you should be able to determine when pricing of your commodity or your inventory will go up within the economy or within the market, and when the price will go down. So if you want to maximize profits as an organization, you must do better forecasting, so that when price will be going up, you must have your stock ready so that you can sell and make profit. Anytime that stock price will go down, you know that you get rid of your stock quickly, so that you won't sell stuff at the cheapest price to customer. It also expand your market share. So if an organization has got very good supplier or very good logistics department, they help the organization to win the market share, because they are always providing to customers. Therefore, customers will be coming to you from different organization or different company to you to source for product, and there you'll be taking over other firm customers. It also helps you to have a very good negotiation or relationship with suppliers satisfaction. So anytime that you are doing let's say procurement, because you have a good forecaster, you always give your supplier advance notice for what you need. So they go to the manufacturers to produce stuff for you, because you give them advance notice at priority 9 or priority 13 or priority 16. It gives them more chance to give you a cheaper price, because you don't put pressure on them. But when you start demanding stuff on priority 5, you put a huge burden on the supplier. And also the last one I would say here is that you avoid missing lead time, because you place demand on time, and also you avoid excessive order of stuff. So I will just give two methods of forecasting. Two methods of forecasting. One is qualitative method of forecasting, and the other one is quantitative method of forecasting. So the qualitative method of forecasting is whereby we based our decision of predicting what we need or our requirement for the future, not only on the quantities that we need in the past, but based on the comments being made around that period of time, or based on the sales in the past. When it comes to quantitative, we base our facts on numbers. We base our facts on data. We base our facts on the FQDs. Likewise, the qualitative we base on the condition of information within that time of period. So when you're making provision, you have to consider the PEL concept, the PESTEL concept. In an organization, you have to know the political situation of the country at that time. You have to know the economic condition of the country, the state of the country, or the region that your business is within. You have to know the socio economic environment as well. You should know the technology which is going on. You should consider the environment that you are about to bring that community into it, and also the legal aspect of it. So when you are doing qualitative forecasting method, you must consider these points. So thank you so much, my audience, for listening to me. If you have any comments, kindly pass them on through the comments chat place, and I will respond to you. This is my last comment for you. Forecasting is not just a prediction. Forecasting is not just a prediction. Every organization needs a good forecasting to maximize their sales. When it comes into the defense world, the supply chain, every QM and every Charlie and Alpha store section needs good provisioners for them to satisfy the sub-units or their battle groups when they are about to deploy. Thank you so much for listening to SSgt Kwakye, which is Global and Defense Supply Chain Analysis founder. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.